Chapter 348. Getting rid of Xuan. Kang Tia bellowed, similarly increasing his speed and flying with all his might to get rid of Xuan. It was a good thing that although Xuan was powerful, he mostly relied on the strength of his physical body, and the true essence in his body was not much more than Kang Chon's, so the speed of his flight was almost the same as Kang Chon's. "Do you think I will tell you?" Xuan laughed coldly. Despite not being able to catch up with Kang Tia, he still didn't give up and took out a few communication jade slips and sent down a few divine thoughts. Kang Tia, whose divine thoughts probed into this scene, his face instantly changed. He knew that Xuan was calling for help. "Kang Tia, you won't be able to escape. I've already called a few of my divine separation stage brothers and sisters to rush over. Even though their strength is a little bit inferior to yours, they all know how to instantly move, so it's still possible for them to help me stop you." Xuan laughed morosely. In the Land of Kings, there were generally no powerhouses above the divine separation stage Seal King level, because all powerhouses who had reached this level had traveled to the 18 layers of hell to make a break for it. This was almost an unspoken rule of the cultivation world, and in the Land of Kings, this was the world of the out-of-body stage powerhouses. Even if there were a handful of early, mid, late divine separation stage, or even peak divine separation stage powerhouses, it would be difficult for them to pose a threat to some geniuses. As in the case of Kang Tia, he had a strength close to the great circle of the out-of-body stage, and even if he encountered a late divine separation stage powerhouse, he would be able to repel them head-on, or at least ensure that he would not be defeated. As for an outbreathing stage great perfection powerhouse like Xuan, even if he encountered a peak divine separation stage powerhouse, he would not be afraid in the slightest. Therefore, the Land of Kings, even though there were a few divine separation stage powerhouses, still belonged to the world of the outbreathing stage cultivators. Xuan was the supreme genius of the whole of 10,000 demons, and Kang Tia was absolutely convinced that he was able to call in a few divine separation stage powerhouses, so a wave of worrying rose in his heart. Even though the divine separation stage powerhouses that stayed in the King's Land were those with low strength, it was impossible for them to be stronger than him. But as Xuan had said, as long as they were divine separation stage powerhouses, then they would all be able to instantly move. With the divine ability of instantaneous transfer, he would definitely be stopped by them. And then he would have to face Xuan's rolling over. "Kid, it looks like you've encountered a crisis. Do you want me to help?" Emperor Don's voice came out with a hint of gravity. Obviously, his old man also felt that Kang Chon's situation was in danger. "No need." Kang Tia was stunned at his words. Then he gritted his teeth and said, "Emperor Dan could help him today, but could Emperor Dan help him for the rest of his life? This cultivation world, in the end, he still had to rely on himself." The light in Kang Chon's eyes flickered. He didn't believe that he couldn't break through this difficult barrier. "Elder Dan, you said how he found me, right?" Kang Tia suddenly asked, knowing that after his instantaneous shift, he had directly left the killing island several hundred miles away. With Xuan's divine thoughts, he would not be able to discover him at all. However, without waiting for him to escape for a moment, Xuan arrived from behind his heart, as if he was fully aware of which direction he had fled in. This point made Kang Tia very torn. As long as he couldn't solve this problem, he wouldn't be able to escape Xuan's pursuit. Well ... Emperor Dan heard this and pondered for a moment, then said, "To track a person's whereabouts, it's only by virtue of secret magic aptitude or treasures. That big guy behind you doesn't seem like someone who would know this kind of tracking secret magic. He should have a treasure that can detect your whereabouts." Ginger was still old and hot. Although Emperor Dan hadn't seen it with his own eyes, his guess was roughly correct. Kang Tia nodded, and then began to think of a countermeasure. "Kid, The ancients once said that the way of war lies in heavenly timing, geographical advantage, and human harmony. Nowadays, aside from the timing of heaven, the other party has already grasped the harmony of man, and you can also choose the geographical advantage. Looking at Kang Tia frowning in thought, Emperor Dan reminded, geographical advantage. Kang Tia sniffed and fell into deep thought. Xuan could call his master brothers to assist him, which was considered to be mastering the people's advantage, which was not as good as him. He had no way to call on some of his master brothers to help him. Wang Dao and Yu San could be called in, but the problem was that the cultivation of these two people were not even worthy of lifting his shoes. Calling them in would be a complete death wish. It was simply useless. As for the geographical advantage, Kang Chon's eyes suddenly lit up and whispered, Misty Star Sea. Emperor Dan sniffed and revealed a pleased smile, then said no more. Before traveling to the King's Land, Kang Tia had long since learnt about the general topography of the King's Land through the Heavenly Dao Sect's intelligence department. Therefore, even though it was his first time coming to the King's Land, he still had an understanding of the situation here. As far as he knew, not far from the Killing Sea, there was a mysterious dangerous zone. This so-called danger was relative. Some cultivators below the outbreathing stage Seal King would suffer a crisis if they entered there. However, those above the outbreathing stage Seal King would not be in any danger if they entered. That mysterious and dangerous zone was the famous Misty Star Sea in the Land of Kings. The entire sea of misty stars was always shrouded by a thick fog, and this fog was so mysterious that even the divine thoughts of a divine separation stage powerhouse would find it difficult to view the scene inside through this fog. Therefore, cultivators who entered the Misty Star Sea would often get lost. Of course, just getting lost, that was naturally not considered dangerous. But the key is the Fog Star Sea. There are some powerful beasts. These beasts are very powerful. Some can be compared to the out-of-body stage. And the number is not small. The general single out-of-body stage strong encounter. Almost no way to escape. Of course, these beasts strong also strong limited, as long as there is out of the orifice stage Seal King level strength. Into the Fog Star Sea is not much danger. At most is a little bit of trouble to get lost, but as long as the mark in advance, but also not afraid. As long as we enter the Misty Star Sea, that treasure of his will be useless. A smile suddenly appeared in Kang Chon's eyes. Sublime slash. Thinking that, Kang Tia let out a low roar, and once again executed the sublime slash, advancing in the direction of the Misty Star Sea. This place was still some distance away from the Sea of Misty Stars, and if Kang Tia wanted to enter the Sea of Misty Stars before those brothers and sisters of Xuan arrived, then he could only continuously execute the sublime slash to instantly move. Although the King's Land was very large, and it would still take quite a bit of time for Xuan brothers and sisters to arrive. For a divine separation stage powerhouse, this amount of time was not much. Kang Tia did not dare to guarantee that he would be able to enter the Sea of Misty Stars before those master brothers of Xuan arrived, so he could only try his best to rush to the Sea of Misty Stars. Noticing Kang Chon's sudden change of direction and instantaneous movement, Xuan, who was chasing after him, changed his face, a look of surprise appearing in his eyes. Instantaneous movement. Don't you know that the outbreathing stage Great Perfection can also instantly move? Humph. Xuan coldly laughed and also performed an instantaneous shift to chase after him. But what made him look a little ugly was that the distance of his instantaneous transfer was simply not as far as Kang Chon's instantaneous transfer. How is this possible? Xuan was incomparably shocked in his heart, and at the same time, he felt ashamed that he, an outbreathing stage Great Perfection powerhouse, could not even compare to an outbreathing stage invincible powerhouse above transient movement. The distance of an instantaneous shift mainly depended on the strength of one's divine idea, as well as one's strength, and one's comprehension of space. Of course, space was too esoteric, and throughout the entire Flood continent, even those Mahayana stage powerhouses, all loose immortals, they only had a slight comprehension of space. Therefore, in the cultivation world, determining a person's instantaneous distance mainly depended on the strength of that person's cultivation. Xuan thought that his cultivation was far superior to Kang Chon's. Otherwise, right now, it wouldn't be him chasing Kangxia, but Kangxia chasing him. However, he, who had a strong cultivation, was left far behind by Kangxia, which made him look embarrassed and ashamed. In fact, Xuan didn't know that although Kang Chon's cultivation was inferior to his, he couldn't catch up with Kangxia even if he had studied above space. As early as before he had stepped into the Jidan stage, Kangxia had begun to research on space with the divine ability of the Heaven Escaping Hand, even though what he had researched was limited, because his realm was too low. But no matter what, compared to someone like Xuan who had just come into contact with space, Kangxia still had a great advantage. Even in terms of comprehension, above the spatial level, Kangxia far surpassed some of the harmonization stage powerhouses, thanks to the help of the Heaven Escaping Hand. Otherwise, Kangxia wouldn't have been able to create a divine ability like the Sublime Beheading, which allowed for instantaneous movement at the Yuanying stage. Therefore, despite suffering from the limitations of his cultivation, Kangxia still exceeded Xuan by a little bit above the distance of instantaneous transfer. Although it was only a little bit, as Kangxia continued to instantly move, this little bit of distance also continued to expand, so that in the end, Kang Chon's figure had completely disappeared from Xuan line of sight. And at this moment, Xuan had to stop as he took out the Xuan Heavenly Mirror and looked inside. HMPH, even if your teleportation is even more powerful, you won't be able to escape the Xuan Heavenly Mirror's probing. Xuan laughed coldly as he found Kang Chon's location from within the Xuan Heavenly Mirror and instantly moved over again. The range of Xuan Heavenly Mirror's probing was 10,000 miles in a circle. Kang Chon's instantaneous distance was only 500 miles, so naturally, he could not escape the Xuan Heavenly Mirror's probing. Not to mention Kangxia, even if he were to be replaced by an Empyrean stage powerhouse, it would be difficult for him to escape the Xuan Heavenly Mirror's probing, unless he was an Empyrean stage sealed King powerhouse. Only for a composite stage sealed King powerhouse, the distance of one of his instantaneous transmigrations was 10,000 miles. Furthermore, the distance of a Xuan Steel instant was 400 miles, and if Kangxia wanted to escape from the Xuan Heavenly Mirror's probing, then he would have to instantly move at least 100 times to be able to do so. However, the consumption of executing the Sublime Beheading was very high, and Kangxia could not support 100 instantaneous transmissions when he was seriously injured. Therefore, Xuan wasn't worried at all that Kangxia would be able to escape from his grasp. Escape. Although I don't know why you're transient, but I expect that you're consuming a lot every time you transient. And at that time, without me having to make a move, I'll be able to easily behead you. Xuan continued to transient while probing the Xuan Heavenly Mirror, swallowing an elixir in the process to recover the consumed true essence. He wasn't in a hurry at all. In the Xuan Heavenly Mirror, he could clearly see Kang Chon's figure, even though the distance between them was gradually being widened. But what did it matter? As long as he could find Kangxia, he would be able to kill him sooner or later. Xuan was like a hunter at this moment, chasing after wounded prey, and when the prey's blood ran out, that was the moment it fell. This brat doesn't look like a fool. Why is he running away like this? Doesn't he know that the longer he drags it out, the more unfavorable it will be for him? While chasing Kangxia, Xuan heart was filled with doubts. In his opinion, it was impossible for a genius like Kangxia to be unaware of the current situation. Rather than fleeing without even having the strength left, it would be better to stop and fight to the death. There might still be some chance. Could it be that this brat thinks he can get rid of the Xuan heavenly mirrors probing? Humph, Xuan sneered. Then he locked Kang Chon's location and zoomed in the Xuan heavenly mirror. Let's see where this brat is going to escape to. If it's contacting the Heavens Path Sex Outbreeding Stage Great Perfection Powerhouse, that wouldn't be good. Xuan appeared extremely cautious, and despite the fact that he was winning, he still wouldn't let up in the slightest. This was mainly because Kang Chia was too important, to be precise. It was the Broken Dawn Immortal Order that Kang Chia possessed that was too important. That was a treasure that even a combined stage powerhouse would be eye-catching. Rumor has it that the Broken Dawn Scattered Immortal has laid down formation prohibitions in the Immortal Mansion. And other than cultivators below the Divine Separation stage, everyone else who goes in is dead. Hey, this is specially tailored for me. When I seize the dawn-breaking Immortal Order, even if those old guys within the clan are red in the eyes, there's no way they can compete with me for it.